Good afternoon, everyone. It is Saturday, December the 26th, 2020. It is currently 1:08 p.m. Central Time. I'm coming to you live from Victory Baptist Church, located here in Ovalo, Texas. And once again, it is time for us to open up our Bibles and engage in a little Bible study exercise. Engage in a little, devotional time of study. Now, let me just quickly remind you how this works. I'm here at the church. I came out here to do one live broadcast. I completed that live broadcast, got ready to pack everything up and realized, wait a minute, if I don't do a devotional study now, I'm probably not going to do it when I get home. It's already afternoon. It's 1 o'clock. It's after 1. So that means I've already missed my afternoon devotional study time, and I did not do one this morning, so I'm 2 behind because I tried to do 4 a day. So I thought, you know what? I better stop what I'm doing and do my devotional study right now, and I'll just do it live on the air. That's what I do. I just there's no planning. There's no trying to create a sermon. It's me sitting down to have my my own devotional time of study. And I just hit the big red go live button and do it live on the air with you. And I've been trying to formulate these, not just as a devotional study, but as a Bible study exercise, because I try to do part of the study on my own working through it and thinking, but then I try to give you something that you can take further on and do your own study and look some things up, hoping that it will spark, obviously, an interesting conversation, and you'll share what you got from your study with me, because then it can lead me to, better understanding. Now, a lot of you don't actually engage with me on these Bible study exercises, but whether you are or not, whether you're even listening, it doesn't matter, because I think this is something that we need to do. There's so many issues to talk about every day. There's so many issues to talk about. We have to get back to the Word of God. All right, so let's jump in. I'm going to start this Bible study exercise. I'm going to start with this devotional time of study with asking us a question. All right, how's your heart? How's your heart? What is the condition of your heart right now? What is the condition of your heart? What is the condition of my heart? I've got to ask myself that question. What is the condition of my heart? You know, if we ask that question, how's your heart in the medical world, then basically the first thing that's going to come to someone's mind is obviously the condition of their physical heart. If you go online and do a search for heart, you're going to find details on the physical heart, how it works. You're going to find all kinds of details. And listen, you're going to find an emphasis on not only how it works, but on caring for it, so that you can live longer. And they're going to give you things like by avoiding a poor diet. You need a good diet to protect your heart. You need exercise and other factors to help prevent heart disease and different things that could ultimately end your life or shorten your life. That's what you're going to find if you look up heart, online. You're going to find a lot of things about the physical heart, how it works, and what you can do to keep it healthy and strong, will keep beating, and you can have a long and healthy life. And it's going to talk about, avoid a poor diet, exercise, et cetera, et cetera. You get the idea. But what about our heart, not speaking of the physical heart, but kind of the intangible heart, the what's inside of us? Let me ask you this way, not your physical heart, but the idea of kind of the center of who you are, the center of your emotions and a lot of things we could, I'm going to give you something to do. I'm going to give you something. Oh, actually, let me do this. Let me see. I'm just going to go ahead and just give you an idea of what we're referring to. And I'm going to have to grab my Bible dictionary. It's not right here next to the microphone, so I apologize for this. I know this is very unprofessional, but again, I always imagine these like you just walking into the church and you're like, hey, what are you doing today? I'm getting ready to have my Bible study. Okay, can I join you? Sure. And we just work through this together. So, I need a Bible dictionary. So I'm going to grab my Bible dictionary. 1 second. I'm right here. I'm close by. I don't know if you can even hear my voice when I'm that far away, but okay, here we go. I got it. It was at the end of this table. Now, if you just look up the word heart in a Bible dictionary, you look up the word heart. I didn't even think about doing this right before I went live, but let's go here. Heart. Where do we have here? Hang on, give me a second. Got to find the entry here. Heart. All right, here we go. This is how the Bible dictionary defines the heart. The inner self that thinks, feels, and decides. In the Bible, the word heart has a much broader meaning than it does to the modern mind. The heart is that which is central to a person. Nearly all the references to the heart in the Bible refer to some aspect of human personality. So the heart is the inner self that thinks, feels, and decides. It's the essential part of who you are. All right. Now trust me, there's a very long entry there for heart. So we didn't even scratch the surface of everything the Bible dictionary has to say. I just want you to realize we'll call it the intangible heart. That thing that's inside of you. You can't just cut yourself open and go, there it is. It's part of what makes you you. Now, here's the question. Not only you could ask yourself today, how's your heart physically speaking? Hopefully well, and you're doing what you necessary. But how's your heart spiritually speaking? How's your heart? What is going on inside of you? Now, not externally. I'm not asking, how's your Christian life? Oh, well, look at me. I haven't done this and I haven't. Like, externally, you may look great. I'm not asking about how good your Christian life looks externally, how godly everyone perceives you to be, how godly, you appear to be. Now, what's going on in your heart? How's your heart today, this December the 26th, 2020? How's your heart? Now, the reason I'm bringing this up is because the scripture I have in front of me is Psalm chapter 86. Psalm chapter 86. And if you look at Psalm chapter 86, verses 11 and 12, you will notice, at least in the King James, that the word heart is used twice. So when I was like, what am I going to do for my devotional study? And I'm like, okay, Psalm 86, 11 through 12, because I have a little Bible study guide here that offers Psalm 86, 11 as the text for today. So I just saw that they said Psalm 86, 11. So I put the Bible study guide down, opened up my Bible, read Psalm 86, 11 and 12 and stopped and said, okay, there's what I'm going to use today for my devotional time of study, and I'll turn this into a Bible study exercise. So here's what you can do. So the first thing I want to do before we look at the text, first thing I challenge you to do is whatever Bible dictionary you have around, whatever one you can find online, just look up the word heart, read what they have to say about the heart, and just offer a basic summary of what about the heart. What does the Bible dictionary tell you about the heart? Right? Just summarize it. You don't have to write out just summarize so that you understand what you're referring to when we refer to the heart. Okay. So first, the Bible dictionary definition. I've given you partial one. I didn't repeat it enough so you could write it down. And I did that on purpose because I wanted you to do your own looking it up. All right. So here we go. Psalm 86, verse 11. Teach me thy way, O Lord. I will walk in thy truth. Unite my heart to fear thy name. Verse 12, I will praise thee, O Lord my God, with all my heart, and I will glorify thy name forevermore. The heart is mentioned twice here. It's mentioned twice. And verse 11, it's about uniting my heart to fear God, uniting my heart to fear thy name. Unite my heart to fear thy name. That's an interesting word. Unite my heart to fear thy name. What exactly does that mean? Verse 12, I will praise thee, O Lord my God, with all my heart. So the heart is involved here with fearing God, and the heart here is involved with praising God. That seems almost like maybe at first a contradiction, but I think it's interesting. Two parts, fearing God and praising God. Now, before we get to the heart focus, though, I want to go back to Psalm 86:11 and work through this because I think that's just interesting. Maybe my mind was thinking maybe there's a progression of thought here. You can tell me what you think. All right, here we go. Psalm 86:11. First thing the psalmist says here in Psalm 86. The psalmist says, "Teach me thy way, O Lord." The first thing the psalmist does here is a plea to be taught. Teach me your way. So let me ask you, and I really want you to, and I'm gonna go back to the idea of the heart. I'm gonna go back to the idea of the heart. How's your heart? Let me ask you this question. In your heart, not in your mind that you know you're supposed to do it, not out of because you just feel like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do, but in your heart, do you truly have a desire to be taught the way of God? The psalmist here is calling to God for him to teach me thy way, O Lord. Teach me your way, O Lord. Teach me your way, O Lord. Do you have a heart desire to be taught the way of God? Truly. Now, someone who listens to us, sent me he sent us a very nice gift, financial gift, that's going to be very helpful and pretty much for almost half of the year helping support our internet ministry. So I greatly appreciate that. But what I even appreciated more than the check, I just appreciated the transparency and the honesty in the letter that came with the check. Because he talked about how that because of COVID, he hasn't really been able to prepare for Sunday school. And so that kind of like, almost like, well, I'm not preparing for Sunday school and kind of, I don't have the letter in front of me, so I don't want to mischaracterize his words, but it almost like, hey, because I don't have to prepare for a lesson, then almost like get out of the habit of study or needing to study. And that's always a danger because sometimes we're trying to learn God's ways for all kinds of ulterior motives. Like I can be doing it for a sermon. Someone can be doing it for a Sunday school lesson. We can be doing it. But what happens when that motivation is gone? Is there still a heartfelt desire for, Lord, teach me your way? Teach me your way. Now, the only way that ultimately we're going to be taught God's way is through his word. His word. That's how you're going to learn his ways. You got to study his word. You've got to study his word. You've got to study his word. You've got to study. So if you have a heartfelt desire, if you truly have a heartfelt desire for it, guess what? You're going to do it. Like there's no fit. If you have a heartfelt desire, you know that when your heart, it's always the heart wants what the heart wants. And when the heart wants it, the heart's going to get it because it's going to employ every emotion and motivation it has for you to get what you want. That's how come some people have a heart, that they have a heart desire for certain things. Maybe it's to be physically fit. And guess what? They're going to go to the gym. They're getting up at 5 a.m. They're going to do everything because they have a heartfelt desire for that. Other people don't. Do you truly have a heartfelt desire this afternoon to be taught the way of the Lord? No, now listen, his way, not your way, not what you want God to, but his way. It's a true desire to be taught the way of God, the way of the Lord. I think sometimes we only like to be taught God's way when we want it. We want to be taught the way we want to be taught, how we want to be taught, and we only want to be taught God's way if it seems to be in agreement with our way. But that's not being a heartfelt desire to be taught God's way. Sometimes we got to be taught God's way. And that way is not going to be, his ways are not our ways. It's just straight up. If you're being taught God's ways, it's going to go against the way you feel and think over and over and over and over and over again. And if you don't feel that, then you should have a great concern. You're really not being taught the ways of God. If it doesn't step on your toes, if it doesn't convict you, if it doesn't bother you, if it doesn't at first make you go, wait, I don't like that, there's probably a good chance you're not being taught the ways of God. Because they go against everything that we would want and desire, right? So go back to Psalm 86:11. Teach me thy way, O Lord. Next, I will walk in thy truth. I will walk in that truth. Now we know we're never going to completely walk in thy truth. We know we're not going to do it completely, but here's the idea. If I am being taught the way of the Lord, well, we know that way is the way of truth. So let me ask you this. Do you have a heartfelt desire to be taught the way of the Lord? And do you have a heartfelt desire to try and seek to follow that way? Do you have a desire to be taught that way? And do you have a desire to follow that way? If you desire to be taught it, but not follow it, then there's something horribly wrong. You got to desire to be taught the way so that you can follow it, so you can walk in, as it says, in thy truth. You want to be taught the way of the Lord, which is the way of truth, and you want to walk in that truth, walk in that way. Does your heart truly desire to learn, to be taught the truth of God? Does it? A heartfelt desire. As a pastor, after all of these years, sometimes I worry that people don't really desire to be taught the way of the Lord. Sometimes I don't know what their motivation is. They don't seem to want to talk about it. They don't want to seem to discuss it. They don't seem excited about it. They don't seem to want to engage in it. I've said it so many times. I've learned, even doing a podcast. I do a podcast about something controversial. Everyone wants to talk. Everyone wants to engage. Try to get people to engage over scripture. It's like crickets. No, the crickets have even left. It's silence. It's that horribly loud sound of silence. That deafening sound of silence. And you're like, come on, people, let's talk scripture. But yeah. So do you truly desire to be taught the way of the Lord? And then do you truly have a desire to walk in his truth? Do you truly have a desire to walk in his truth? Not your truth, his truth. Right? Psalm 86:11. Teach me thy way, O Lord. I will walk in that truth. I desire to walk in that truth. Do I have a heart to do that? And then third, unite my heart to fear thy name. Do you truly have a heart that desires to fear God? You truly want to have a fear for God in your heart. Do you have a desire in your heart to be taught the truth, to walk, to be taught the way of the Lord, to walk in the truth, and to fear him? He is asking, unite my heart. Unite my heart to fear thy name. Now, what does it mean to unite my heart? Well, first, I'm going to look it up in a different translation. All right, I'm gonna look this up in the NIV. I just happen to have one sitting here. Psalm 86:11. Whoa, this Bible is ripped all to shreds. Okay, teach me your way, Lord, that I may rely on your faithfulness. It looks like that's what it says. Give me an undivided heart that I may fear your name. So this says, give me an undivided heart that I may fear your name. An undivided heart. That's an interesting way. So the King James puts it, unite my heart to fear thy name. In other words, it's the idea that if I have a divide, it seems to be the idea, unite my heart. In other words, bring my heart together so it will fear you. A divided heart can't fear God. That because it's divided. Like part of it may fear God and the other part not. But if I truly want to fear God, I need a united, an undivided heart. That seems to be the way the other translations handle it. Let's look it up really quick. Let's do a little bit of research. Let's go back to, I'm going to go to the Blue Letter Bible app. I'm going to go to Old Testament. I'm going to go to Psalms 86. Psalms 86. I'm going to go to verse 11. I'm going to go to verse 11. I'm going to pull up the interlinear. I'm going to go to the word unite. And the word unite is this Hebrew word.
Strong's H3161. Yached. Yached.
Play that one more time. Here we go.
Strong's H3161. Yached. Yached.
And it is used 3 times. It means unite, join. All right. The Strong's definition is to be or become one, join, unite. Join, unite, be joined, be united. All right. So yeah, there's not a lot of help there. So it seems to be the idea that if unite my heart, let my heart become one so that I can fear you. Do you have a desire? All right, so let's go back to Psalm 86:11 then. Let's approach it this way. Now, we could probably do a little bit more work to see if we're on the right way of thinking, but my initial thought is that we're onto something here. I think we're onto something here. So Psalm 86:11, let me ask you, how's your heart? Does your heart really want to be taught the way of the Lord? I mean, honestly, internally. You may show up to church and have no desire to be taught the way of the Lord. You may be sitting at a Bible study during the day and have really no desire to be taught the way of the Lord. Like, do you really have a heart desire to be taught the way of the Lord? Do you have a heart desire to walk in that truth that you learn? And number 3, do you have a heart desire that you have a heart desire that your heart would be undivided? Your heart would be one in fearing God. Do you have a desire for your heart to be united so that it can fear God? In other words, you have a heart desire to fear God, and you realize the only way that's going to happen is with a united heart. If the heart is divided, it's not going to fear God. It's not going to fear God. There's just no way. Because the other part is, I don't care about God. You're like, if your heart becomes divided, then you may have fear and part of you, but you need an undivided, united heart in the fear of the Lord. It's united together to fear God. Do you have a heart desire? I know this is a hard way of describing it. Do you have a heart desire for an undivided heart that fears God? Or let's state it this way. Do you have a heart desire to fear God? Do you truly desire to fear God? And can you honestly acknowledge when you don't fear God in your heart? So do you have a heart desire to learn God's truth or learn God's ways? Do you have a heart desire to walk in the truth? And do you have a heart desire to fear God? All right. Now, look at verse 12. I will praise thee, O Lord my God, with all my heart. Do you have a heart filled with praise for God? Do you have a heart that is filled with praise for God? Do you? So, do you have a heart that truly desires to be taught the way of the Lord? Do you have a heart that truly wants to walk in the way of truth? Do you have a heart that desires to be completely undivided in its fear for God? And do you have a heart that's full of praise for God? I'm all related that to the heart, not externally. You can praise God with your mouth and your heart be far from it. You can try to demonstrate that you fear God externally, but your heart does not fear God. You can try to demonstrate externally that you're walking in his truth, but internally in your heart, you have no real desire to do that. You're just doing it because your parents expect it or whatever the case may be, or it's just expected upon you, or you don't want everyone to get mad at you, you can have all kinds of wrong motivations. And do you have a heartfelt desire to be taught the way of the Lord? Now, here's what I want you to do for your own Bible study. We focused on the heart. I want you to find 5 verses in the Bible. Now, you can look up the word heart in a concordance. Just look up the word heart and find 5 verses. You can just skim the concordance. Just find 5 that you think really, really, really just speaks to you about the heart, the importance of the heart, gives you some strong information. Now, I know you can say, oh, I know this one. I know the one in Jeremiah that says the heart is desperately wicked. Okay, don't just try to rely on the ones you know. Try to just look up the word heart and just start going through and find maybe 5 that you haven't seen before. 5 that just really speaks to you. Try to find 5 verses that speak about the heart that you just really never thought about before. Like you're like, whoa, that's really good. Or maybe you knew them and you have forgotten them. Don't just rely on the ones you know. That's not really that's not real Bible study. That's not a Bible study exercise. I know 5 verses about the heart. No. Find 5 that you've never really thought about. Now, so here's your task. Number 1, look up an entry for the word heart in a Bible dictionary. And just summarize what it says. Just summarize. Then look up the word heart and a concordance and find 5 verses that speak about the heart that you think is very powerful. It's a needful reminder. It's convicting. It's challenging. Just find 5. All right? And then ask yourself, how's your heart today? Does your heart truly desire to be taught the way of the Lord? Does your heart truly desire to walk in the truth? And does your heart truly desire to fear God? You desire to have an undivided heart so that the whole heart can fear God. And is your heart filled with praise for God? There you have it. And let me read Psalm 86, 11 through 12. I'm going to read all of it now. All right. Teach me thy way, O Lord. I will walk in thy truth. Unite my heart to fear thy name. I will praise thee, O Lord, my God, with all my heart, and I will glorify thy name forevermore. There you go. Psalm 86, 11 through 12. There's your Bible study exercise for a Saturday. I think I said Saturday afternoon. And yeah, Saturday afternoon, December the 26th. December the 26th was my mother's birthday. She died a long, long time ago. But yeah, December 26th was my mother's birthday. So, I just thought about that. Yeah, December the 26th was my mother's birthday. I guess kind of a sense of sadness there. It's also, it's always, when your mom dies when you're young, and this is just extra, I remember, and I know you can say this is just crazy, I just always felt this, and I trust me, I believe in the sovereignty of God, so I don't want you to try to offer some spiritual rebuke that I'm living in fear. Just listen, hear me. There was always this part of me like, okay, if my mom died before she was young, when I got closer and closer to the age she died, I was always like, well, am I going to make it past that age? I'm like, why should I make it past it if she didn't? And well, I'm obviously way past that now. I'm way past that. But it always just, it's the way life works. Like I mentioned yesterday in my Christmas message, a person who was in my youth group, the person went to his church and he came to our youth group and I went to their youth group. And, I went, out on the streets of Red Oak, Iowa, talking to teenagers about the Lord with him. We spent a lot of time together. Then he became a missionary, and this church supported him. He passed away the day before Christmas Eve, much younger than I am. He's gone, leaving behind young children. Like it's just it's just that reminder. We don't really know. We don't know how long we're going to be here. We don't. And we can't waste a second of that. We cannot waste a second of our day. We've got to work while it's still day, because the night cometh when no man can work. And one of the keys to us being effective as Christians is always checking our heart. We got to check our heart. Where are we at in our heart, spiritually speaking? Because man, you can literally be sitting there doing the right thing. Like you're saying the right words, doing the right things, going to church, being faithful to your spouse. Everything looks so good, but sometimes there's a spiritual heart disease that started and you don't even realize it. And the next thing you know, that heart disease manifests itself in a spiritual heart attack. And boom, you drop and you're like, how did I get here? Because your heart wasn't right and you didn't realize it. Because sometimes we're so focused on the externals. Something to think about. All right, I'll stop right there. You can email me your thoughts, newsif@yahoo.com, newsif@yahoo.com. I'll be back here tomorrow, Sunday, for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of live broadcasting. It's always I'm so wiped out by the end of a Sunday, but I hope it's beneficial to you. If there's something you want me to study, something you want us to talk about, let us know. Most likely we're going to deal with the Niagara Creed for Sunday school, and then we'll be back hopefully to Romans 8. That's the plan for the Sunday morning worship. That's the plan, and you whatever feedback you have. I'm always, if these Bible study exercises prove to be beneficial, I always appreciate hearing from you. All right, everyone have a great Saturday. I'm going to go home, get some food, and we'll see what Saturday has. Oh, I know what I wanted to do. I did not get to it today. I wanted to give a review of the new Wonder Woman movie, Wonder Woman 1984. I watched it yesterday because it debuted in the theaters on Christmas Day and on HBO Max. There were some things about the movie I did not like as far as the way it was made and some of the way the story. I could get into, like, there's this one big chase scene down the highway that I thought wasn't really put together really well. But the story of that was so powerful. What a message to end 2020. That the only way, basically the message of the movie is the only way we're going to save ourselves, save the world. Now, I know from a Christian perspective, we're going to be saved by Jesus Christ, but this is talking in a practical sense. That we're not going to be saved by a superhero. We're going to be saved by turning away from our own selfish desires. That we have to sometimes give up our own selfish desires for others, for the benefit of others. And it's like the superhero doesn't save everyone. That's kind of the crazy. Yeah, there's so many aspects of that movie. But yeah, it's Wonder Woman 1984. It's currently streaming on HBO Max. It's only going to be there for like 30 days because this is a new thing they're trying where they're going to release the movie the same day it's released in the theater. So it's only going to be there for a short time. It's an interesting movie. There's some there. So I want to do. Now I feel like I need to do an episode about it now, but I'm not. So, but there you go. We'll talk about that. If you saw the movie, give me your thoughts. newsif@yahoo.com. All right, everyone have a great day. God bless.